This afternoon, whatever time it is for you, it's almost afternoon for me. I have an open letter to Elon Musk and all the folks at Tesla. Now, I'm sure this is something you've thought of. In fact, it's even been brought up before, but from time to time, you just have to make a recommendation. A lot of the folks on the X platform and a lot of folks in the YouTube world were recommending advertising month after month after month, and eventually it's stuck. And Tesla is now advertising, as we mentioned this morning, $6 million of advertising last year. So I'm going to throw this one out there again with a lot of reasoning behind it, a lot of approaches that I think are going to be wise with regard to this recommendation. Let me know in the comments below whether you agree, disagree. Maybe you think I'm half right, half wrong. I don't know. Maybe you have ideas on top of what I'm suggesting that you could put in the comments below. But let's go ahead and take a look at what Matthew Donegan Ryan, who goes by Matthew DR over on X, he says, I never thought Tesla should operate a driver-supervised rideshare network before RoboTaxi is available until he watched a certain video by Justin. Now, I'm not going to show the video or anything. I just mentioned that because he's the one that kind of brought it back to my mind again. And apparently in this video, Justin said that his customers are blown away by experiencing FSD beta and riding in a Tesla in general. So he is a Uber driver or some Lyft or something. Anyway, he says, I believe that Cathie Wood projected a supervised rideshare service at some point. And he's 100% correct. Cathie Wood did say that she thought they should start doing supervised RoboTaxi drives 2 years ago, I think. Maybe it was only a year ago, but a very long time ago. Cathie said, why not start now? It makes so much sense. And I'm going to explain, maybe Cathie went into more detail at the time. I don't know, but I'm going to explain why I think it makes so much sense. Anyway, Justin 04297706 was the one who generated that one. And then replying to that is I'm sorry, in reply, he is replying to a Whole Mars blog and Elon Musk statement. He says, since I got laid off in February, I've been giving people rides via Uber. Since I received FSD version 12.3, I've been using it for every single ride. So many riders have been blown away, especially this whole generation family, grandparents, daughter, and granddaughter, all at the same time. All right. So I believe that the time has come that Tesla should either work with Uber and or Lyft, and they should either work with them, put together a program that they can participate in, or they should start competing with them. They are absolutely going to have their own fleet of robotaxis someday, and they're going to have the fleet made up of the owners of the various cars that are putting their cars out to the robotaxi fleet. And so that's going to happen someday anyway, when there is no need for a driver. But the question is, should they do it now? Should they do it now when there has to be a driver that costs money? There's, the person that's driving the car, there's an expense there. But now that it's working really, really well, would it be a good idea to start the program now? This is, I think, going to make sense. There would be a huge benefits to such a move, and it would also be so Tesla-like. You see, when Tesla first started selling cars, they realized that there was a chicken and egg problem, right? That nobody was going to buy an electric car if they were going to be tethered to their home charger. There had to be a network of chargers out in the world so that folks could drive more than 100 miles from their home. You couldn't go 100 miles and then ask somebody to plug into their wall someplace. They needed to have a series of chargers. So they decided that nobody else was going to buy that. Nobody else was going to build those chargers all across the United States and every nook and cranny when there was no electric cars on the road that was going to be using it. So they realized they had to build out the charging stations before there was any customers. And they would have to take it on the chin, so to speak, for years while there was hardly any use of those chargers. Well, they're sitting in the same situation again. I think they should take it on the chin again. They have 6 million cars now in the world that have FSD capability. Maybe only about 400,000 of those are using that capability. Now they're doing a bunch of stuff right now to get the usage up, like allowing people to have a free month to test it and see if they want to do it, helping people to, when they get a new car at the Tesla handoff, they're now making the employees give them a 20-minute, 30-minute ride, showing them how to use full self-driving. And then allowing them to make a decision whether they're going to continue with it or not. We've been talking about that for a few days now. But those that are going to use the FSD right now, it would have to be for their own reasons. They like it because they think they're interested in the technology. Maybe they feel they'll have a better driving experience. They've been told over and over again that FSD is way safer than any other system out there right now. And then, there's a comfort issue. Larry's talked about this a lot. Larry Goldberg says, it just turns a ride, driving across country and stuff, into a pleasure. Where there's no reason to go any other way than by car. Well, all right, but what is the chicken and egg problem now? Well, the chicken and egg problem is, well, there's nobody that would know to use the Tesla app. Oh, there's no Tesla app. Okay, so well, there is a Tesla app, but it doesn't have rideshare on it. Or will the rideshare app be a separate app, or will it be part of the existing Tesla app? However they're going to do it, it doesn't exist right now. So if I'm sitting here right now and need to go to the airport, I got Uber or Lyft if I want to get to the airport. So how would I know that there's even a Tesla possibility in terms of getting that ride? If there was a Tesla possibility, I would take it every time, especially if it was even a dime per mile less expensive. So they need to set up the app. And there would be millions of people like me. We own a Tesla, but we're going out of town for 4 weeks. I'm not going to park my car at LAX for 4 weeks. So I'm going to take an Uber to LAX. And when I get home, I'm going to take an Uber back. Well, I would certainly take a Tesla instead if a Tesla app car, especially, again, if it was cheaper. So there's a lot of folks out there. I'm saying even some people that make a lot of money, maybe people that are even making 100 grand a year, who might put their car, might go out and do supervised rides on a Tesla app system. If they could make an extra 25 bucks an hour on the weekend, maybe they could, go out for 3 hours. Maybe they could go out on Friday nights because there's, such an abundance of people requiring these rides, and you can get more money when you're doing it on Friday or Saturday night. There's a whole bunch of reasons why people that are even making decent dough might like that extra cash by going out and providing these rides. Now, there would also be people that might buy a Tesla that had planned to eventually buy a Tesla if there was a a RoboTaxi network, but they would buy it now because they could begin to make money off of the car. They might have thought, well, I could, buy a car and use Uber. I could buy a car and do Lyft, but their real intent is to buy a car that they want to put into the Cybertruck fleet with no supervision. Eventually, well, now they might be inclined to buy the car sooner if they could go ahead and do the supervised driving while they're waiting for this event to take place. But there needs to be an app. So you see, you need riders, and the riders need to be knowing that there is a system. So you need marketing. And you need you need enough drivers in a region in order to make sense, because you don't want to go on your app and it says it'll take 3 hours and 55 minutes before the person will get there. I mean, you need to have all of these things happening simultaneously. So I think that Tesla can do this, start off with a region right now. They should do it now. They need to develop the app. Maybe they're working on it. They probably are. They probably have a lot of these ideas already thought through, but start it now and start in a region and then go into a second region. And of course, there's the other thing too. They got to start working with these communities. They got to start talking to the governmental agencies. Some places have licensing situations for taxis. Some places have rules with regard to Uber and Lyft, with rideshare and whatnot. Some have rules with regard to taxis, even if there's no licensing. So there's all these kinds of things that Tesla needs to be doing anyway with municipalities. Well, they could start doing that as well. And I think these local agencies would love that. that they're getting a chance to see these robotaxis supervised in action, get the data in their specific neighborhood, so that when it comes time for people to take their hands off the wheel and take a nap in the back seat, they're going to get that it's okay. Anyway, once you see how many people sign up, now you can start advertising in that region so you can get more people to use it. And then they're testing the app, they're testing the marketing, they're testing the pricing. This is a huge benefit. And you can turn it on everywhere, and you can have, if you turn it on everywhere at once and you got millions of driverless cars, that would be immediately, that would be some kind of confusion, and there would be all kinds of issues, I think. So doing it in a trial, doing it a little bit of time, doing it by region, getting it going right now would make a lot of sense. Anyway, Uber and Lyft would also be put in a position, wouldn't they? If Tesla started doing this on their own, Uber and Lyft would be in a position that they would have to make a decision how they were going to work or not work with Tesla with regard to the future where cars are going to be driverless. We know Uber has specifically said, I think Lyft also, that they recognize this is coming and that they plan to be a part of it. This would also probably cause Hertz and some of the other rental car companies to also have to take a look at what Tesla is doing in this regard. They also might want to be a part of it. Well, now they're going to start collecting data. All these cars are out there. They're going to be collecting tons of data on the routes. What are people using the most? The cost, time of day costs, time of week costs, local area costs. If you saw, I'm not sure, Cern Basher did a video with me. It might be one that's going to be tomorrow. It might be the one he did yesterday. Anyway, he was showing the different rates around different parts of the US and around the world. And it turns out that down in South Texas is the cheapest place in the country. And New York City, of course, is the most expensive in terms of Uber rides. Well, Tesla's going to need that data too. They're going to need to understand that. They're also going to want to deal with the costs of operating, like the energy needs, the cleaning, the dealing with weird passengers and problems with passengers, weird situations that come up. And then there's going to be infrastructure decisions with regard to charging and with regard to cleaning, etc. So all those things, they will be getting into the ball game right now with these supervised drivers who can be a lot more flexible when these issues arise, compared to what we've seen happen with the driverless cars, like in San Francisco, where they get stalled and messed up. And now what do you do? So all that kind of stuff could be dealt with now. Tesla could even subsidize rides in some situations in order to find out what the impact would be of a lower cost per ridership. You see, all the conversation is about the fact that eventually these rides could get down to less than $1 a mile, maybe even 50 cents a mile. What kind of impact would that have on who uses the system? How many people start getting out of their cars and saying, you know what, I'd rather just take, if it's only 50 cents a mile, I would take a Tesla RoboTaxi. Maybe it's at $1 a mile that those behavioral changes start taking place. So all of that, again, is being figured out ahead of time. So they might subsidize those rates in a region. They might subsidize those rates on a day. There's all kinds of ways that they could do that. Anyway, I think that subsidizing the rates might be really useful. In fact, doing this advanced idea might be really useful in countries that are not yet allowing Tesla to even sell FSD. So in Europe, in Great Britain, in Australia, in China, et cetera, where it's not yet doing this, this might also help to get the whole idea started in those countries. And then, in addition to everything else, Tesla currently has overcapacity, famously. Now, I think that overcapacity might go away just because of the advertising and the FSD testing and all the things that are already taking place. And maybe we'll really start to ramp up later this year. But right now would be a great time for Tesla to put some of these into use, maybe even with their own employees in, let's say they got a region that they want to develop, and they've got 200 owners. It's a 100,000 community. They got 200 owners that sign up on the app right away. But 200 is not enough to really make that region, work as far as a taxi area. So maybe they hire and put some of their own fleet into that area to get the test fully working. I see there's just, this is why I say I need your guys' help. Add your ideas down in the comments below. What's messed up about my idea? What's good about the idea? What other things have I missed that you might be able to add to or add on top of? Anyway, I just would love to see what you have in mind there. So again, a reminder that yesterday was Cern Basher. I'll put a card right up here. Cern will be on again tomorrow, so you want to hit the notify for that. Probably first thing in the morning. And then Larry Goldberg joins me later today to talk about good news on Good Friday. And let's see, also another big order for Cybertruck bottle openers. That's 2 in 2 days. I was a little surprised because they hadn't been selling that many, but you might want to get your Cybertruck cyber opener. Maybe your truck is on the way. Maybe you're about ready to place your order. Maybe you've already got your truck, and this would be fun to give out to friends, to give out to family members, etc. Or maybe you know somebody who's getting their truck and you'd like to give them one as kind of a fun gift. Maybe you've just got general ideas of groups or people that you think would benefit from it. Well, all the information is down below in terms of placing your order. And we would love to get a bunch more orders after having 2 sizable orders 2 days in a row. And then, of course, Patreon. Love to have you join Patreon. Everything about that is all down in the description. I'd also like to remind you that in the description, there is I show the program for usually almost a week in advance. What is my show going to be? Who's going to be on? So if you're curious about who's going to be on later in the week at what time, you can go down in the description and see that. I also give the specifics of how you can follow all my different co-hosts and the people that participate with me on the different shows, like Brian and Larry and Bradford and Nicholas and who am I forgetting here? Oh, yeah, Jeff and Cern. And yeah, so all these people that you're seeing all the time on the show, all their information is down in the description also, so that you can follow them on X or follow them on their own YouTube channels or go ahead and help them out on Patreon. All of that's just great if you want to do any of that. Now, one last thing, let me remind you, is we are now coming into the home buying season. And when you're going to go out there and buy a home, you got to probably going to want a mortgage. And if you want to get a mortgage, I've had him on my show before. You're just not going to do better than to hook up with Bill Rayman, who I've been working with now for 15 years, written a book for, helped him to write a book. And Bill Rayman is an amazing mortgage lender. He's one of the top 1% in the country in terms of the amount of production that he does. And he will help you to he'll help you to get that mortgage you might not otherwise get. And he'll get it for you at the best possible arrangement that fits your specific needs. So anyway, give Billy a call. His information is down below as well. And you know what? It's been great talking to you.